Thank you for watching this Last Mile Profits video.
Are railway stations the right place for a parcel locker? Keep watching to find out more.
Last Mile Profits is brought to you by Parcel Pending by Quadient.
Gary, what has Quadient got to do with the railway business? Would you like to enlighten us?
Well, I think hopefully you probably know it's a recent announcement where we've done a deal with Scotrail. I think it's not the only rail franchise that we've either signed or very close to signing, but to put parcel lockers at some of the stations in across the Scotrail network. So that's a big opportunity for Quadient to get some lockers on the ground.
So for those who are not UK based, Scotrail is is it sort of local city and surrounding area network for Scotland?
Yeah, so I mean, even after Dr. Beeching's efforts in the 1950s, that we still have one of the largest rail networks per capita in the world in the UK. So there are many more stations than you would imagine. We probably all know the stations from the Monopoly board, but there are hundreds, if not, I think there's something like over 2,000 railway stations in the UK, and there are hundreds in Scotland. So as well as this kind of, the Edinburgh Waverleys and the Glasgow Centrals, etc., there are dozens and dozens of stations that are much closer to where people live, are much closer to other communities, and they're all linked together in this sort of regional, national network is probably the best way to describe it.
Let's then have a chat about this, because I think it does make sense. But if we were to prioritise, I think given the fact that you now have enough lockers to start looking at other areas, because for me, there's no doubt that slipper distance bedroom districts, that's the sort of number one place to be. But once you develop behind that or above that level, yeah, obviously people, if they're commuting in, they will pass by the locker. It's probably one of the next best options. Are you more of a fan of this than, because I always had doubts a bit.
I have to be careful because I'm wearing my orange shirt and work for this orange company a little bit, and we're sponsored by them. But I would say I'm fairly neutral on this. If I'm really honest about it, I want to be wrong, and then it goes brilliantly. But when you think about it, if you do commute, I don't want to ride with my parcel on the train. So I don't want it at my destination station. I want it at my origination station. So if I'm commuting from in the UK into London, which I did for years when I worked for Royal Mail, I don't want to take my parcel to work. I don't want to pick up my parcel at work and carry it home on the train. I'm going to leave it behind. I'm going to fall asleep and leave it under the seat. There's all kinds of mishaps. So I want it when I get back. So from that point of view, I think the Scotrail deal works really well. I'd rather have a single locker in 100 stations than 100 lockers in the central station. So I kind of get it. But there's this thing about lots of people that are in important jobs that do product management and all this sort of all the sort of stuff that we do. They are commuters. So I think they imagine the world as commuters. I've got an adage that I've repeated a number of times. I always think middle class people should not be allowed to do product development, because what they do is they solve their own problem. They don't solve the problem of the other 95% of the population of the country. They solve what's bugging them, not what the world wants. So the organisations that do solve what the 95% want become enormous and successful, and the people that become fixated on their own issue do not. And I think there's a little bit of a tendency with the commuting thing to imagine the whole world is commuting, and they're not.
So Gary, that's very deep and meaningful. So are you telling me that middle class people should not work in product management roles and similar?
Well, I think it's very difficult not to become middle class if you work in product management, I guess. But what you do need is to really understand what drives most people. So this the whole convenience versus expense. We think, it's only £3 to have it extra to go there, or I can use Uber Eats to bring me a yogurt. It's only £2.95 and all this sort of thing. A lot of people literally don't have the £2.95. So there's all of this convenience stuff just misses along. And a lot of people will go to immense inconvenience to save a few quid. The best example of that is how quickly click and collect from high street retailers grew. You're £2.95 to deliver from home, or come into the store and pick it up for free. My immediate reaction is, why do I want to go to the store? I bought it online, so I don't want to go to the store. So why would I, to save £2.95, I'm still not going to the store, bring it to my house. For a lot of people, they're not in that economic situation. So the opportunity to have the convenience of browsing the products online, selecting, and then put up with the inconvenience of going to the store is acceptable to them. So you have to just think these things through.
I'm going to have to agree with you, and I'll tell you why. Something that maybe you don't know, and probably 99.9% of our viewers don't know. I had a few corporate lives. One of them was in fast-moving consumer goods marketing. And it was exactly this. Our middle class team had we thought, a really great advertising execution that we just loved. We then put it to the test with the target group that were not like us, and we loved it. It completely bombed. It then turned out we had a second execution that was, we thought, very mediocre. People just loved it. So I think you're right. I mean, having said that, so that we don't knock all the middle class product management people, a lot of them I think are smart, and hopefully we were smart because what we did is we researched it and we actually did what the consumer wanted. But on a more serious note, my view is that the way things are going, multiple solutions are going to be needed. It's not enough to just have a locker at home. I agree with you, by the way, and I think it's absolutely the way to look at it, that people will not pick up in the morning, take the parcel to work and bring it back.
No, or pick it up on the. I mean, I've never walked through King's Cross Station. I've only ever run through, to try to get the last train home. So the chances of me stopping, I must just stop and pick that parcel up. I'm going to be one of those people that leaves it in there a week because I'm going to forget constantly or not have time because I've left it as ever to the last second to jump on the last carriage of the last train home.
But I think that's quite a cool sort of way of thinking about it, that given that most commuters will be going, for obvious reasons, not to King's Cross, but going home somewhere else, those nodes are the places where you want the parcel locker.
When you see people pouring out of Guildford Station at 6:30 at night, having come out from working in the city, and then going out to their cars or going out to the taxi rank or being picked up, that's when is the moment to put the parcel in there just before they get home. Again, so hopefully Scotrail, first of many, or one of many, will be the right solution.
I think we've come to the end of our time today, Gary. As usual, great discussion. Let's observe how things develop. I mean, I have no doubt that it is the right strategy as part of any holistic approach. But please, viewers, if you've got another view or if you've got some comments, please comment below, preferably in LinkedIn, please. And of course, if you've liked the video, press like and subscribe.
Last Mile Profits is brought to you by Parcel Pending by Quadient.